All right, Joe Kidder, this is Symbolic responding to your great comment on the topic of civil discourse on a video I did. I love the last line of this. I'm trying to get a feel for the calculus of incivility. I love it, man. I have a predisposition or proclivity towards mathematical ideas, so I love that idea of the calculus of incivility. Let me read your comment. Symbolic, do you have thoughts on rating slash favoriting videos that make a point, I think, in which you are agreement, but cross your line on civil discourse? Yes, I will either not rate those or I will downrate those if they've broken the rules of civil discourse, and the degree to which they have causes me to downrate it. Uh, does it make a difference if it is a video, a response video, a standard video, a video directly addressed to the offending community? Um, no, not really, though. I mean, there are different sort of infractions for those. For instance, a video addressing a particular community will tend to rely on stereotype. Stereotype strips the individuality away from people, and in that sense, uh, removes their fails to recognize or removes recognition of their essential individuality and freedom. Um, I can go into that more in a little bit of a while. But stereotyping, you'll find with stereotyping, also people tend there's stereotypes usually form the basis of prejudice. They will generally invalidate people by sliding them down the scale from the adult human either to still human but child, or in extreme examples down to animal. You know, so stereotyping tends to do that. And this happens a lot. The atheist community tends to do this with religions, calling religions fairy tales. And religions are not fairy tales. Fairy tales are tales for children. So you're basically saying you are children, you are not compos mentis to have an adult conversation. There is no way you can validly compare a rich mythos, religious mythos, with a fairy tale. Um, it's interesting, and the animosity and venom that exists in these arguments, this animosity between, for instance, the Christians and the atheists on YouTube really mystifies me. You know, if I think that if most in the atheist community were to travel to another continent, to an indigenous pre-technological culture, and witness, converse with the shaman who was in charge of communicating with nature, healing the community, and other complex things, I doubt that they would be ridiculing, laughing, and calling him. I think they would show respect to the individual, but not so in our culture. So it's very strange. I don't know why we do that. Not that I do it, but I don't know why this phenomenon takes place. I have theories, but in any event, it's disrespect. I like this. What are the differences between mocking, ridicule, and insulting? Insulting usually just hits a taboo word somehow. We accuse somebody using taboo language. Um, I think mocking is to imitate someone and hold someone up to ridicule, but there's a degree of imitation in it. Ridicule, the root is ridi, which means laugh in Italian, and so it must come from the Latin. But it's basically to hold someone up to scorn or laughter, kind of like derision. Um, these are a way to render people a cartoon, to remove their humanity by cartooning them. So it is uncivil, and it's akin to stereotyping, but it's different. But it basically cartoons the person, so it removes their humanity from them, dehumanizes them. Uh, Ridicule often relies on humiliation. So what is that going to achieve? So I don't think any of those should be indulged in. Now, I draw a distinction there between that and satire. Satire is a much higher, more sophisticated thing. Satire is, first of all, generally it has to be very intelligent. And satire is usually aimed at people who have power, figures or institutions that have power. And satire is used critically. It's a critical tool. Mocking is simply pointing and laughing at something children do. Um, how about going after beliefs, institutions, believers in general? As I say, if you go against believers in general, you're stereotyping. So that shouldn't be done. Specific individuals, I think we can criticize individuals, criticize their ideas or their arguments, and we can criticize negative qualities such as dishonesty, breaches of ethics we can criticize. But if it's just a simple ad hominem attack, um, you know, which is serving in the stead of a true argument, it's not acceptable. Um, that I think pretty much answers the whole thing. Yeah, you might want to watch my video, Framework for Civil Discourse. I go into more detail about the various forms of invalidation and dishumanizing or dehumanization that takes place. Um, Invalidation is kind of interesting. Name calling is another way to insult, is to call people names. Uh, and it's amazing. These are all very simple manners. It's embarrassing to have to make a video. That the first video I did on the framework for civil discourse, I said I'm embarrassed that I have to lay these rules out. This current video is not embarrassing, however, because it's a fascinating question that you ask. But I do still feel embarrassment when I do a video explaining, what are simple manners like. Well, don't insult people, don't call them names. I mean, it's like stuff that we learned when we were really, really small, but all those rules get broken on YouTube. It's just amazing to me. Uh, you know, I think that's about it, man. Maybe I'll call this towards a calculus of incivility in honor of your concept, huh? Okay, that's the story. Talk to you soon. Thanks for the great comment, Joe Kidder. Take care. Bye bye.